Imagine walking into spring training and knowing you've been a middling reliever thus far in your short career. But you're excited. You've just signed a $2.625 million deal, avoiding arbitration. And now you're really going to get your shot at the big league level at the age of 29. You're entering the year as a closer for the team, even though you've blown 16 saves in the last 3 seasons, while only racking up 20. Also, you're not a strikeout artist, which is unusual, but you have got a great sinker that sits at 95 miles an hour and induces ground balls and weak contact. Little do you know, you're about to lead the league over the next 2 seasons in saves and make an all-star game before disappearing and being just another guy in the bullpen. Oh, and you have a name of just another guy. You are Jim Johnson, the 2012 closer for the Baltimore Orioles. Jim Johnson, or JJ, may have been the definition of just another guy, or a jag. He recorded 57% of his 178 career saves in just 2 seasons with the Baltimore Orioles. But why am I leading with this? Well, overall he had a rather up and down career, but obtained the closer role when Baltimore started its run competing in the AL East and the AL in general in the early to mid 2010s, which really shows just how important it is to be in the right place at the right time. So let's do a quick dive into this rather peculiar career. Jim Johnson was born in Johnson City, New York of all places, and I did do some research, and he has no relation or tie to the founders of said city, but on June 27, 1983, he was born. He attended nearby Union Endicott High School in Endicott, New York, where he graduated in 2001, and he would be drafted to high school in the 5th round, 143rd overall by the Baltimore Orioles as a right-handed starting pitcher. Jim would spend his next few seasons in the minors where he didn't put up anything special that would give you the impression that he would be great. However, he was efficient enough to continually be promoted throughout the system. This would lead to his first major league appearance in July 2006 against the Chicago White Sox. There he would be hit around in a 3-inning start where he gave up 9 hits, 3 walks, hit a batter, 0 strikeouts, all while giving up 8 runs that were earned and 1 home run. He would be demoted back to the minors after the game, and he got another call up in 2007 where he was once again beat up in a 2-inning appearance, giving 3 hits, 2 walks, a strikeout, 2 earned runs, and once again was demoted after this singular game. In 2008, he made 54 appearances, pitching for 68 2/3 innings, allowing 54 hits, 34 walks, while striking out 38. He allowed 18 runs, posting a 2.23 ERA, a 1.194 whip, and going 2-4 with a singular save. He had a 200 ERA plus, meaning he was basically 2 relievers in 1. So yeah, he had a great year, even though the O's finished 68 and 93. JJ was once again back in the pen in the 09 season, and would be given the closer role once current closer George Sherrill was moved to the Dodgers. Jim would finish the year not well, statistically going 4-6 with a 4.11 ERA, racking up 10 saves, and a 1.11 ERA plus. Granted, this was at a time when Baltimore was really struggling as a team and once again nearing the 100 loss mark. In 2010, it would mark his 3rd year with the club, and while as a team they seemed to be still doing bad, JJ started to be reliable pen arm, while only pitching in 26 innings due to an elbow injury. He did avoid surgery and managed to put up a 3.42 ERA, 1 save, and a 1.23 ERA plus. Having avoided the surgery, Jim came to play in the 2011 season as the O's were under new manager Buck Showalter, who was hired at the end of 2010 and used Johnson heavily as a reliever. In 2011, Johnson pitched all 91 innings in relief, while closing out 9 games and posting a 2.67 ERA, a 1.70 ERA plus, and a whip of 1.11. Jim won 6 games and finished 6th in innings pitched on the team, as well as securing the closer role at season's end. So here's where the intro comes into effect, with JJ coming into the year as a closer, and on top of that, the O's were ready to show the league that they were on the rise. And 2012 was almost as good as it can be for any closer. He got an all-star nod, broke the team all-time record for saves in a single season, which was 46, became only the 10th pitcher to record 50 saves in a season, won the AL Rolaids Relief Man of the Year award, finished 7th in the Cy Young voting, 14th in AL MVP voting, And all this while helping the O's win 93 games and winning a wild card spot before losing to the Yankees in the divisional round, where they would lose. He got shelled in Game 1, costing the Orioles the game, but he did end up recording 2 saves in the series. For the season, Johnson went 2-1 with a 2.49 ERA, 51 saves, which led the league, in 68 2/3 innings. He had an ERA plus of 170 and a whip of 1.019, and he did this with only a 5.4 K per 9. However, he did have a 63.3 ground ball rate. After a career year, Jim was back on a $6.5 million deal, and the team was hoping for another repeat year. And well, they got one, but not in the way you may imagine, as Jim's ERA was in the 5s in May before turning it around for the rest of the season, and after May 29th, he was lights out. And while he wasn't an all-star, nor did he win any awards or accolades, he did end the season going 3-8 with 50 saves, which once again led the league. He had a 2.93 ERA, a 1.39 ERA plus, and lastly a 1.28 whip. Now the team as a whole took a step back and did not make the playoffs, as they finished 85-77 this season. But JJ wouldn't be back to see the success of the O's, as they would be contenders once again the next few seasons, as he was traded to the A's in the December of 2012 for Jamil Weeks and a player to be named later, who was David Freitas. Neither made any impacts, and Weeks was traded for a minor leaguer named Kelly Johnson of the White Sox. I think in a way all this worked out though for the O's just fine, as they did have a young Zach Britton who's working his way up the bullpen chart the same way Johnson did. The A's thought this was going to be the missing piece at the back of their bullpen, coming off a 96-66 season where they lost to the Tigers in the divisional series. They gave Jim Johnson a $10 million contract, and, well, they got a whole 2 saves out of it. Jim regressed hard and was abysmal at best, going 4-2 in 40 innings, posting a 7.14 ERA and a whip north of 2. He also had an ERA plus of 52, and it was so bad that he would be cut after the trade deadline and then end up signing with the Tigers 5 days later. In case you're wondering, things did not get better for Jim there, as he still posted an ERA of 6.92 in 13 innings and a 57 ERA plus, and he would end up being a free agent at season's end. Now 32 and viewed to be on the decline, Jim signed a $1.6 million deal with the Braves, who were hoping to kick the tires and get an outs getter. They did in fact get that with Jim, who ended up back as a closer, going 2-3 with a 2.25 ERA, 9 saves, and a whip of 1.3. He would go on and be traded to the Dodgers in a 3-team deal that included the Marlins, as the Braves at this time were in a complete rebuild mode. I'm not going to go into all the details as it's a pretty big trade, and I will just post the overall trade in the video and you can read through it yourself. In LA, unfortunately, he was worse than the year before and ended up with an ERA above 10, and needless to say, the questions were back on JJ, as if he was a fluke or if he still had it. Well, in 2018, an old friend came calling back in the Atlanta Braves, where he signed another 1-year, $2.5 million deal, where he was serviceable in the closer role, once again going 2-6 with a 3.03 ERA, as well as saving 20 games. So the Braves brought him back once again, where they got another 22 saves out of him. However, the ERA and other stats were not there, and with Atlanta being on the upswing with a young, blossoming team, they decided to trade him to the Angels, as well as some international money for Justin Kelly. And once in LA, he put up decent numbers, made 62 appearances in 63 innings, got 2 saves on the year, and finished with a 5-3 record, a 3.84 ERA, and unfortunately, he never made another big league appearance of the 2018 season. Jim Johnson ended his career with a 55.5% ground ball rate, which was his bread and butter. Yeah, he had the 95 mile an hour sinker in his prime, and while that prime was short or sporadic, I'm not sure which would be the best to describe it, but for 2 years, he was arguably the best closer in the league. He left Baltimore as the second best closer in team history, now currently third behind Britton, and managed to pick up roles as he went because he was an out-getter for the most part. For his career, he only had a 6.8 K per 9, which is not what you really expect from relievers and closers. He ended his career with a 38-46 record, a 3.79 ERA, 178 saves, and a whip of 1.335. And lastly, an ERA plus of 111. So, no, he isn't entirely an average pitcher by those numbers, but it wasn't far from it either. What do you think? And thanks for watching. I look forward to hearing some comments down below on what you thought of Jim Johnson's career. Thanks.